Testing, 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 y'all. 2 minutes away from starting. I'm excited because I got my fancy new camera set up. Obviously, y'all can't see it because you're on the other side of the screen, but I wasn't able to get it to work last time, but I'm getting it to work today. Y'all, I'm just going to let you know that I did not sleep well last night, so I have the sleepy eyes, and I'm super excited for this practice because I'm just feeling kind of tired. And I'm using this practice as well just to take it easy in my body today. I am planning to do a lot of filming of content. Tuesdays are a lot of batch filming. So I will be filming stuff for Instagram. I took a little hiatus on my YouTube videos, but I'll be getting back to those pretty soon once everything's kind of squared away and scheduled a little bit better. So I'm looking forward to taking it easy during this practice since I'm going to be doing a lot of movement in my body today. Let me know, y'all, if you can hear me just by giving me a thumbs up. I'm going to turn my laptop around just to make sure. Y'all give me a thumbs up just to make sure that you can hear me. Good to see you, Dana. Welcome. Y'all, we are going to be doing a yin yoga practice today. If you are part of my newsletter family, oh, good. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you're part of my newsletter family, then you received an alert this morning about what we're going to be practicing today. So if you are not subscribed to my email newsletter, head to iawell.com and make sure to join my newsletter so you're updated on what we're going to be practicing every Tuesday. I don't reveal that until in the morning on Tuesday mornings in our email, because that's when I've had some time to sit and think about, well, what do I actually want to practice in my body today? So today we're going to be doing a yin yoga practice. Yin yoga, unlike other practices, actually originated from Taoism, which is based in China. So a lot of the other yoga practices that you've explored with me have been from Hindu or Indian origins. This is actually from originated from China or Taoism. And it's a really slow, low to the ground practice, but it's different from restorative yoga in that it focuses on deeply stretching the connective tissues and ligaments. So we're going to be really, really getting into the hips and stretching deeply into the hips and low to the ground postures. My hips are always tight, so I'm always gravitating towards my hips. We're going to be on the knees, so I have my blanket here. I encourage you to grab a blanket or a towel for your knees to pad the knees if you do have sensitivity. Then you also want to grab 2 yoga blocks to support you. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can always use a large book. Bring those to the top of your mat and we will get started in a hot second here. Let me check the time. We are at 12:01. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, y'all. My name is Abiola Akana. You're seeing me really tired today. Hair's in a bun. I got on my oversized sweater, but you know what? This is non-performative yoga. It's about practicing in what feels good. It's not about what it looks like. You can grab some big ass comfy socks. You can wear your basketball shorts. I really don't give a fuck. Find what feels good for you. It really does not matter what it looks like, y'all. This is a non-performative yoga practice. We focus on exploring our growth zones and not pushing into our pain zones. So when you notice that you are pushing yourself beyond your own boundaries in your practice, you know that you're performing. And that's what I want you to stop and ask yourself, why am I pushing so damn hard in this pose? What is the point of this? Because that's what Western yoga perpetuates, this need to fit into a posture. You don't need to fit into a posture here. I don't need you to learn that way by trying to push yourself into your pain zone. We get enough of that in the outside world off of our mat. You don't need to be doing that on your mat. I prefer you to actually start to explore what it feels like to learn in your growth zone and cultivate a relationship with that sensation, as opposed to always having to learn by pushing beyond our boundaries. So we're going to start by coming onto our knees. For some of y'all, you're joining me from Girl Trek. Welcome. Some of y'all are joining me from EA, which is my online non-performative yoga platform. Some of y'all are my students coming in from our current non-performative 200-hour yoga teacher training. Wherever you are coming from, it's good to see y'all. You know, it's your girl, Abiella Akani. For us to get right into today's practice, let's start in a tabletop position, coming straight in to child's pose. Opening the knees wide, letting the belly and the chest fall through, maybe drawing a block underneath your forehead. If you have any experiences with a traumatic brain injury and you want to keep the head elevated over the hips, if you'd like, you can bring your forehead towards the earth if that feels good for you. I like finding a little elevation because we're going to be focusing on the hips in this yin yoga practice, and my hips are tight. It actually feels a little uncomfortable for me to drop my head below my hips because my hips are not warmed up yet. So I'm going to keep my head elevated. This is a 30-minute practice, y'all. Last week, you told me that you like the 30-minute time slot. That's good for me. So we are going to be covering about 5 to 6 postures. Yes, that is it. 5 to 6 poses. Yin yoga is held for long periods of time. So each pose is held for about 5, sometimes even 10 minutes. So we're going to be holding each pose for about 5 minutes, which leads us to about 5 to 6 postures that we're going to cover today. Once again, if you start to feel yourself pushing beyond your pain zone, we don't need you to learn that way. Go ahead and guide yourself out and keep your practice non-performative by staying in your growth zone. We're going to start with a few rounds of breath right here, softening into the breath and the body. If you had a shitty night's sleep, like me, then this might feel really good. Just rest here for a few rounds of breath. If you had a really good night's sleep, this also might feel really good to rest here for a few rounds of breath. No matter the experiences that we've had previously before coming onto our mat, I invite you to be here now. Start to notice the texture, the pace, and the consistency of your breath. And take a fluid inhale in through the nostrils, y'all. Feel the back of the heart inflate with air. Breathe with purpose on a purpose. And a fluid exhale out of the nostrils, fam. Moving into what we call Ujjayi Pranayama. Translated as the victorious breath. It is an audible exhale out of the nostrils. It's going to sound a little bit like a soft whisper or an ocean breeze, as they say. You're going to drag the breath along the backside of the throat on the exhale. Fluid inhale through the nose. If you're a little congested, it's all good. This will actually help with that, this type of pranayama. We're going to be utilizing this breath pattern all throughout today's practice to sink into sensation. And more importantly, to activate that parasympathetic nervous system so we are moving away from fight or flight responses, y'all. Softening into the muscles. On the next inhalation, friends, let's ripple it up, tabletop. Bring your blocks or your books, if you're using books, at the top of the mat on the highest height, and root your hands underneath them like they're little stilts. And let's go ahead and extend the right leg straight back behind us, and we're going to step it on the outside of our right block. So we want the right foot on the outside of the right hand or right block. And we're going to be here for a few rounds of breath, about 5 minutes. So notice what's happening to my hips. I'm going to start by gliding my hips forward just a little bit. If you are following me on Instagram at Yoga by Biala and you saw the recent reel that I posted about how to use yoga for body positivity, this was actually the posture that we're doing, which was really focusing on getting into the hips to start to explore the narratives that we've been told about our bodies, which most of the time live in the hips, all those kind of unsettling things that we feel or have been told about our bodies, those emotions and narratives we don't really know what to do with. They kind of ricochet through the crown of the head, the heart, the belly, and settle into the hips. It's just something related to Chinese medicine, actually. Energetically, how the hips kind of just compile a lot of the emotions we don't know what to do with. And your hips are going to start to speak to you here. We're going to be here for 5 minutes, y'all. So with that, use your blocks. The higher your blocks or your little stilts, the more you're bringing the earth to you. So if I remove the blocks or my books, if I'm using books here instead, and my hands are closer to the earth, I'm deepening this stretch in my hips, and we're going to be here for a while. So you want to really focus on going slow and steady. Notice if you're biting down on the mouth or the jaw, try to relax the mouth and the jaw, soften there. Because that's the first thing that's going to want to cling up, is that mouth is going to want to seize up, y'all. Try to relax the mouth and the jaw. Notice the salivation happening. It's actually a body's pleasure response. You want to remove any need that's going to come or anything that's going to come to kind of get you to respond in a lot of pain. So that's why I had you pad your knees if you have sensitive knees. And I'm already feeling like, oh, I need to double pad this left knee. She's already feeling sensitive. So I'm going to do that for myself right now. I'll invite you to do the same if you need to. We don't want to be fighting in this pose with any type of deep pain or discomfort. We want to feel challenge, for sure. You're going to feel challenge, but we don't need to be enduring just pushing through pain. Like, we don't need to be learning that way, y'all. We've got a few more minutes here. I just want to take a little Instagram video so folks know that we're here. So you might see me playing diddly-daddling with my phone, y'all. We got to do it for the content. Another thing that I've been considering with content is that if y'all are on my platforms, you know that I've been in this industry for a long time, but I'm not very vocal about sharing a lot about myself or what I do. And I want to do that more so that I can really receive my flowers, y'all. So if you've been following me for a while on YouTube and you have been watching and practicing with me for a long time, my Divine Feminine Yoga series you're a really big fan of, or if you've taken one of my yoga teacher trainings at EIA, if you practice with us on EIA, or you follow me on Instagram and you really find my content to be of a great resource to you, please share it. Please reshare, repost, let people know that I'm out there. It helps me, it helps my channel grow, it helps get my name out so I can do brand partnerships that can get more of my message of non-performative yoga out. And at this level, I need that type of lift from my community to really begin to expand my reach. So I really appreciate it if y'all are getting some resources and some benefit out of what I'm sharing, then please share it with your channel, share yourself practicing with me, share. If you are practicing this right now, after, maybe take a snapshot of you practicing, or just let people know that you had the opportunity to practice and invite them to join us on Tuesdays for our lunchtime live stream. It's completely free And I want folks to be able to get benefit out of this resource. We got a few more rounds of breath. Whew, I know I'm feeling it too, y'all. Got a few more rounds of breath. On this side, staying here for a little bit longer. Whew. Continuing to breathe into sensation, y'all. We're going to be here for a few more rounds of breath. Now, we've been here for a while, so gauge your body. Maybe you can draw your blocks down to a lower height, sink into the hips a little bit more. If that does not feel settling for you, keep your hips or your blocks at your higher height. We have a few more rounds of breath. Right here. Getting right on the edge of that sensation, but staying in our growth zones. If it gets painful, we just move out. Whew. Let's look at our time. All right, y'all. Slowly glide your left booty cheek straight back. As you move out of the posture, step the right knee back. Just take a moment here to settle, and we'll do the opposite side. I'm going to start with my blocks high. We're going to step the left leg straight back and left foot on the outside of the left hand or block or book if you are using a makeshift block. Now from here, notice what's happening to my hips. They're starting right stacked over my knee, but I'm going to slowly guide my hips forward, forward, forward. So I'm sinking and drawing my body towards my left ankle to open up this right hip and the front of the thigh, which are my talkative areas, the parts of my body that tend to talk a lot and tell me, hey, can you release us? When I feel that tightness, it's just my body saying, can you pay some attention to this area of us? Can you release us? Can you create more space for us to have more optimal movement? Can you create more space for us to have more of a fluid energy flow? Can you help remove some of this emotional density that we haven't quite resolved yet? Can you help us? I always look at discomfort in my body as my soul saying, can you come see about us? Can you come see about us? Can you help us? Right? So not being afraid of that discomfort. Because at the end of the day, it's in our bodies. And if we just ignore it, we're just ignoring our own bodies. So someone's going to have to deal with it, right? Someone's going to have to take care of it. We got 5 minutes on this side, y'all. Try to relax the mouth and the jaw. That's the first thing that wants to seize up. We want to bite our way through. If it's painful, you just back your hips out and you just start to use your breath to soften into it slowly. Don't grit and grind your way in to stay, right? You might come out, you might come in, you might come out, come in. Use that mindful movement. Consider not pushing, but always practicing through a non-performative lens. Ooh, the hips are talking. The hips is talking. For those who don't know, I'm based here in Seattle, Washington, home of the Duwamish tribe. And I love this time of year. I do suffer from pretty bad seasonal depression, so I'm actually considering relocating out of Seattle, Washington. I've been here for several years. And During the colder months, we do have pretty crazy dark days. However, around this time, around the fall, it's like this, it's not quite cold, but the air is crisper, where you know that fall is on the horizon. And it's just beautiful. Like, we have a beautiful sunny day today, blue, clear skies. It's not like super warm summer days, but it's not cold quite yet. It's more crisp, and it's just almost like a big encouragement from the sun, just to like invite us in and out of ourselves. But it's a changing of seasons. And I feel like during this transition, it's almost like the sun and the seasons are almost cradling us, and cradling me, preparing me for what's to come, and just reminding me it's going to be all good. I'm curious as to how the weather is where y'all are coming from. Let me know where you are joining from today. Y'all, we got 1 more minute on this side. 1 more minute. If you'd like, you might drop your blocks. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper into the hips here in your lizard pose. Notice where you're feeling the sensation on the left side versus the right side. And are you feeling it more on the outside of the left hip, inside of the left hip, or in the front of the right hip? Which is just indicative of how your body stores energy. So you just want to become aware of how our body's storing energy on the left and right side. But as I was saying, let me know where y'all are joining me from, what the weather is like where you are, and also if it's a little bit more on the windy or rainy side, it's all good, depending on how it's making you feel in your body. And just noticing that. I'd love to learn where y'all are coming from, where you're joining me from. We got about 30 seconds here, y'all. Stay with me. Unless you need to move out, then I encourage you to cultivate that agency. All right, let's back it up. Back that right hip up, lengthen out that left leg, step the left knee back, tabletop. Hands and knees, or hands on stilts, if you have your hands rooted on your block. Let's come on to the booty. Coming on to the booty. If you want to elevate the hips for where we're going, which is a wide-legged forward fold, you can roll your blanket or take a pillow and just come to sit on that little thing. It's just going to elevate the hips and help support the spine by drawing the heart and the hips forward a little bit more. So we're going to open the feet wide as they can go comfortably. For some of us, this is already pretty deep in the hips, and this is already pretty deep in the hamstrings. If the knees are bent, that's okay. You can always stay here with 2 blocks underneath the knees. So if your hamstrings are super tight and this is painful to hold, bring some blocks underneath the knees or a towel and stay here as you walk your hands forward to find your depth with the support of your blocks underneath the knees. Or some of us, you can join me here, maybe walking the hands forward. Make sure to open those legs as wide as they can go. Flex those booty cheeks so you can move the booty meat out of the way from under the sit bones if you got that beautiful problem like myself. And we're going to rest here for about 5 minutes, sinking forward slowly. So we stretch the hips. Now we're going to get into the hamstrings, backside of the thighs. Now, if you read my recent email that I sent out today, which was flexibility is not always that beneficial. Make sure y'all join my email newsletter. It's educating you all on how to keep your yoga practice non-performative. One of the things that the Western yoga world constantly promotes is this obsession with flexibility, and its obsession with flexibility and just physical fitness. And flexibility is not where it's at, to be honest. You know, I teach this in my yoga teacher training. My facilitators and I teach this. Flexibility is not really always a beneficial goal. If you are hypermobile, like I'm actually hypermobile, I can get my stomach flat on the ground right now. However, I don't need more mobility because I'm already mobile. I'm already hyperflexible. So if I were to push my body to its extreme extent by coming flat on my belly in this posture, I'm not cultivating any stability to protect my muscles and my ligaments. Instead, what I'm doing is extending and pushing my body to its limit of hyperflexibility, and as a result, I'm dumping into my joints. So folks who are hyperflexible don't really have the stability, also known as the strength, needed in the ligaments or the muscles to really support the joints when they are hyperflexible, and it can cause injury, serious injury. So what I teach a lot of the times is to avoid focusing so much on flexibility. That does really not fucking matter in yoga. You might gain flexibility, but flexibility is also not only where it's at. You want to cultivate stability, and strength in the muscles and the bones as well as flexibility. You need both. And if you just have one, you're just dumping into the joints. And that's when you see all those yogis doing those crazy acrobatic postures. And majority of them have suffered tremendous injuries because of it, right? So don't focus so much on flexibility. What we're doing here is lengthening and stretching the ligaments without dumping into the body. So I don't need you to go to your extreme length. What I need for us to do is to also focus on stability. So how can I cultivate more strength in my muscles and in my ligaments to protect my joints while building flexibility that is well balanced with strength, right? And so I'm staying lifted here, even though I could go all the way down. I'm staying lifted because that's not what I need. I don't need more flexibility because I'm going to injure myself. For those of you who don't know, some of you might know that I do have scoliosis. If you're looking at me, you can notice it. You can see that I lean more to the right. And when I started my yoga practice, I was obsessed with focusing on flexibility, and it exacerbated my scoliosis because my muscles had no stability or strength to support my bones. So I kept leaning more and more to the right. And my chiropractor and spinal care doctor at the time was like, maybe you need to practice less yoga and focus more on strength training. And that's why, if you follow me on Instagram, I go to the gym religiously for my spine, for my spinal health. And that has tremendously helped in cultivating more stability in my muscles and in my ligaments. And it's also why my yoga practice focuses a lot on stability and strength. And flexibility is a little bit more secondary. All right, y'all. Let's slowly come out of it. Slowly come out of it. Float the hands behind you, kind of like you're sunbathing, and walk those legs in. It's a deep stretch. We're coming out, so you might clasp underneath the knees and help your body forward. You can slip that pillow from underneath your booty here, or that blanket, move it out to the side. Draw your hands behind you, and we're going to come to figure 4, drawing our right foot onto our left knee, bending through our left knee. Okay, we'll be here for 2 minutes on each side, holding here. Now, what's nice is that you can control the depth of this posture. So if you want to deepen the stretch in your hip or in your glute, you might bend this left lever or this left knee more. If it's too much, you float your knee out of it, or you release your lever so you can control the depth. All right, so we're going to be here for a few rounds of breath. We got into the hips and the psoas, then the hamstrings. Now we got to get into the booty. The hips and the legs are full 160 degrees. The hamstrings, the booty, the hips, they all work in tandem. So we want to make sure that we're supporting that by hitting each one of those big groups. One more breath here. We won't be here for too long. And the opposite side will wrap up our yin yoga practice today. That was about, on each side, we did about 3 poses. Altogether, we did about 5 or 6, if you count them on each side. These are also poses that you can easily do at home on your own. When you are wanting to expand in the hips, if you're noticing any stiffness or tightness, also focus on stability by not trying to reach to your farthest depth, right? That's not what it's about. And using this if you sit for long periods of time, if you are in a desk for long periods of time, if you are a runner or if you are an athlete of some kind, or if you're not and you just want to add more mobility or more mindfulness and space into the hips. Maybe you store a lot of emotional shit in the hips and you just want to move that around. For whatever reason, these poses can be beneficial to return to. Exhale, lengthen out the left, lengthen out the right, shimmy out the knees. Bend the left knee, switch sides, invite the left foot onto the right knee. Bend your right lever, holding here. Softening through the mouth and the jaw here as well. Noticing if you're biting down. Continuing to hold here. So what I'm thinking that I'm going to be doing, because I haven't uploaded to our Iya Well library. If you're wondering, Iya is my online yoga platform, so I will most likely no longer be doing YouTube yoga videos aside from lives on my YouTube channel. I've been on YouTube, I want to say, since 2014, and I've given away a lot of free content that's available for y'all, and I'm moving on to my membership site, which is Iya, where I'm going to be uploading more of my yoga videos and practices there to build out my online yoga studio library. So if you're wanting to practice with me there and become a member, you can practice with us there. We do have online classes there now for purchase for as low as $9.99, and we also have some for $34.99, and then more full out series that have several videos in one program that are about $9.90 or $99. So different price points. Eventually there will be a membership, so you can just be paying a small fee every month and you get access to all of those different programs. And what I'm thinking I might do is as we do these live streams, I'm going to be doing from September to November. I'll take a break in November for the holidays. And after our yoga teacher training graduates, after they graduate, I'll record these. They'll be available live, and then they'll be recorded, and I'll put the recordings up on Iya. So you'll have to find them there and pay the fee or the membership fee. But they will be free to join me live on Tuesdays. Ooh, gosh, y'all, that hip is tight. That left hip is tight. Yeah, she's tight. All right, y'all, let's lower the right leg. Shake out the knees. And just come to a seated position at the top of our mats. For a moment here, I'm going to sit on my blanket. Option to come to a cross-legged position or find what feels good for you. Option to close the eyes, so you can keep the eyes open if that feels safe and settling for your body. If you do find that when you close the eyes, you tend to disassociate from your physical body, I invite you to keep the eyes open to stay present. Let's take a fluid inhale in through the nostrils, y'all. Fluid exhale out of the nostrils. I invite you to close your practice with whatever hand mudra feels intuitive to you and showcases gratitude for our practice today. We'll each repeat one time. I have done my best. I leave the rest. Namaste, y'all. Namaste. I'm loving the 30-minute practice. So for those of you, I think, Dana, you made that recommendation last week. Thank you for the 30 minutes. I feel like it's a nice in-between sweet spot, especially if we are doing this at lunchtime and we're at work. Once again, y'all, I will see you next Tuesday at noon. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, head to ealwell.com. On the homepage, you can put your email in to get our ritual guide, and that will add you to the newsletter so you know what we're practicing every Tuesday. That's where I share it on Tuesday mornings. I share what the practice is going to be. It'll always be about 30 minutes. Once again, y'all, if you practice with me today, please share it on your platforms. Get the word out. I've been in this game for a long time, and I really feel like I deserve my flowers a little bit more than I'm getting them. And I also want to expand my reach so we can do more things to get this non-performative yoga mission out into the world, which I feel like the yoga world absolutely needs. So please share your practice, let folks know that you practice with me, and encourage them to join us next Tuesday. I might look just as tired. I can't make any promises. I probably will. But it is what it is. Continue to be well, y'all. Continue to be well with yourselves. You've done your best. Leave the fucking rest. And I will see you next Tuesday. All right. Peace, y'all. I'm going to come over here and look at our comments. Yes, thank you for everyone new who joined. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.